Hi, and welcome to Class 2 of Science Fiction Filmmaking 101. In this class, we're going to talk about storyboarding. Now, I have to say, I'm not the world's best artist. In fact, my storyboards are often seen as doodles. But because I did them like a shot list, they worked really well as a communication tool to convey my vision to the team. So, for Origin Unknown, before we even had financing or even casting in place, I decided to storyboard the entire film myself. Now, originally, this was just me getting to see the movie on paper from my head and just for me to see how the film plays out structurally. But I then decided to invite the producers and executives in a room one day, and I walked through the entire movie this way. And you know what? It was so much fun doing this as opposed to me verbally pitching the film or verbally telling the story, because in this way, everyone could see the film playing out. It's kind of a similar technique they use at places like Pixar. But this not only gave everyone in the room confidence that I knew how to tell this story, but also this could now be used to help with scheduling and conversations with cinematographer, production designers, and so on. My storyboards were often referred to on both of my movies as Hasgrams. So I would have my Hasgrams on the wall in the production office, but also the first AD would print out the boards and have them mounted up on set for everyone in the crew to reference. I would also have them at hand to discuss things with actors during rehearsals, just to show them what my intention is in terms of shot composition, framing, and all of this just really helps, speeds up the conversation, but also gives the actors a bit of confidence that, this director knows what he's doing. I often have them with me throughout the shoot, just in a little folder, because knowing the hectic nature of a shoot, you tend to be just so focused on the day, and it's always good to remind myself of some of the key ideas I had during prep. There's going to be times where I would need to present material to external decision makers, such as film financiers, talent agents, executive producers, or the sales companies, and so on. Those groups of people are so used to seeing slick, presentable material. So what I would do is I would take my Hasgrams and pick key moments which really sells the movie and the vision of the film, and I would hire an artist to come on and polish up my boards. So for Origin Unknown, I was fortunate to have my really good friend David Ario, who's an amazing storyboard artist, to come on board and take my existing storyboards and literally draw on top of them or redo them exactly as I wanted it in terms of composition, framing, and storytelling, but into works of art. The storyboarding process doesn't really stop after prep. Because of the nature of science fiction genre being so visually driven and lots of world building, there was so much screen graphics required to help tell this high concept story that I had to engage with the visual effects company earlier on during prep in order to start building those animated sequences which would play a key part in the narrative throughout the film. The script had minimal descriptions of those elements, mainly to avoid the script being lengthy and technical. So instead of me writing out the scripted portions of the sequences, I decided to storyboard them in order to get the visual effects started as soon as possible. On the Beyond, there were some technical hybrid shots which involved live action and CGI, as well as complicated framings and sequencing of timing which needed to be planned way ahead of time before the shoot. So to storyboard those scenes, I needed some 3D support to help me create more technically accurate storyboards. Now, because we already had the CG asset of the Human 2.0 robot from the VFX team, I was able to create close to final framing of each shot using the rigged 3D asset and a CG camera inside Autodesk Maya. But you could do this in any 3D packages, for example, like Blender, which is free and fantastic. I must make it clear that I am not animating, and I most certainly was not lighting or rendering shots out of 3D. All I was doing was simply positioning the CG camera and the assets into my desired framing, and then screenshotting the working environment, such as print screen on a Windows or Command-Shift-4 on a Mac, just to grab those frames. I would then take those frames, into Photoshop or my iPad and just draw on top additional things I wanted to include. So it's really a very quick process, and the only technical things you need to know is where the move and rotate features are in your 3D package of choice. Then the rest is merely just posing and framing and screenshotting.